Hey, friends. I'm trying to see where my video is. Should be in live. Art Plan Deal. There we go. There it is. But I can't open it. Don't know why. Don't know why. It's all right. I hope the comments will come up here on the screen. But yeah, stuff to share. Maybe I can go back. No. Videos. Live. No, not going to work for me. Okay, I'm going to put my phone away because you guys don't need to be watching me play with my phone. Many of you know about Prime Days, and the other day I was talking with some friends and I realized that I hadn't gotten these yet because I was moving and I did not place an order because I was moving and I didn't want to move more stuff than I already had. So we were talking about these Sharpie creative markers, and right now, today is the 8th of July, and it's the last day of the Prime Day deals. And this is a 24 count set, 12 of the bullets and 12 of the brush markers, 24 combo pack for $27.49, which is 35% off of their normal list price. So if you've been looking at these and eyeballing them, today is a good day to make your purchase. I went through and swatched mine in here just to see what kind of colors I could get, and there they are. And I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of these. I need to add these to my acrylic drawer, but they just came because the Prime Day deals have been going on for a few days, and so I grabbed them because the price was right. Not that I had a place to put them just yet, but lower my seat a little bit. So today I was going through papers and things, and I found some Yupo. I found some alcohol ink cardstock. I'm trying to use stuff up. I have these perfect cardstock cards that I can make cards out of. These are just regular 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 from Wendy Becky. You know, I buy this stuff when it's on sale, and then I set it aside. Well, I need some cards, so I'm going to use them. And then I found these, which are an old product from Shannon Green. These, remember when she was using display boards? What do they call those? The big displays. Billboards, and they're vinyl. And so I thought, well, that's something to use with alcohol ink too. I've been wanting to get into my alcohol ink and clean them up and take a look at them. But you can see these are a vinyl surface, ATC. So these are good to use. And I have a number of products that I have out. This is 91% isopropyl. I have these alcohol prep pads because, you know, they help with moving things around and cleaning things up. So I put the alcohol in these little things. I also have, looks like that might be a combo of alcohol and blending solution. I don't know. I have these really old Ranger felt pads where I'd cut felt to go on these kinds of tools I have for doing this. So I have a number of these, and these, because they're just felt that I cut myself from the craft store, I don't feel bad about discarding them. You don't want to keep the felt because it's not good for you, and it could start a fire and that kind of stuff. I have these tools to move it around with, you know, so I just pulled out a number of different things. Here's a chip brush, case I want to do something with that. And see if I can get it out of the packaging. Huh. They glued that down really well. This is a 1-inch chip brush. You can get these really cheaply at the hardware store. Don't go buy them at the craft store because they'll want to charge you a bunch of money. You can get these at the hardware store really super cheap. Okay, so excuse me while I rattle around here. I'm going to set that aside. And this is alcohol ink cardstock. Now, the gloss cardstock is what we used to use all the time. There's 20 pieces in these, but they've come out with better products since then. The Yupo, because these are plasticized papers, the ink will not soak right into these Yupo papers. You'll see the difference when I work with them. I have some Distress watercolor out here too, because if I use, where is it? If I use the alcohol ink, look in my ink pads and see if I can find it. Should be right here. Alcohol ink lip pad. Oh, you know what? I bet it's over in that other, yeah, it's in my other rack. Excuse me, just a moment. I'm going to grab that. And I'm going to turn on a fan. Just to dissipate the smell from the alcohol. And it's always good to have ventilation when you're doing alcohol ink. Come on, where is it? Okay, I'm not finding my alcohol ink lip pad, which means I need to search for that later. Because I like to do the lift techniques. It just isn't jumping into my hand right now. So if you haven't used the alcohol ink lip pad, you might want to give it a try. They're not expensive, and it's a great thing to use. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. I have a really old, okay, I'm getting off track now. I have Duralar, which is a clear paper. It's heat resistant, and so you can use alcohol ink on that too. So I'm going to grab some Duralar. And I'm going to cut that down into something usable. And where's my cutter? Here's my little Tim Holtz one. That should work. Because I'm just cutting it into smaller, more usable pieces for alcohol ink. Let's see, I think these are 9. So it'd be 4, no, by 11, which would be 5.5, no, 6. These must be 12. Wow, they're big. What size are these? Look at the pad, Peg, and it'll tell you. These are, yeah, 9 by 12. Nice big pieces of Duralar. So let me cut that. 6 and 9 would be 4.5. Trying to line this up with the line on here. And this can all be cut down later. But let me get a few pieces out here. I've got 2 pieces of Duralar that I'm cutting at once. So I'm getting 8 pieces overall of this Duralar. I want to make some backgrounds. Set that aside. And then I've got the alcohol ink cardstock. I'm not going to need the distress watercolor until I find my lift ink. Let me get some of that. And maybe an ATC. I haven't played with alcohol ink in a long time, so this will be fun. That has a stripe on the side. Then this is heavy Yupo. I'll try to show you the differences here. Heavy Yupo. This is a medium weight Yupo. But if I'm going to heat anything, I like the heavyweight. So I set this aside. Okay, so it is coming up now. So it must have just had a delay or something. So the chat is there. I've got stuff out. These are paper palettes that I pulled out because I will be working with some acrylic too later. So I pulled those out. I'm trying to get things organized. Anyway, this box is a box I did years and years ago when I was taking a class from Tim. I think I'd gone to Chicago or something. And you can see I've got nuts and bolts and stuff. And here's a domino that I had stamped. Can you see that? There's a domino that I'd stamped and put alcohol ink onto. So alcohol ink is a lot of fun. Hi, Minka. Good morning. Or it's probably not morning where you are. Anyway, so in this box, you can see I have had this box for years and years and years. They don't sell this box anymore. They used to have this as an option. I do have some of these round felt pieces here, and then there's a few more. There's pitch black, which I might want. There's the alcohol lift ink, so I can use it out of the bottle. There's ginger, buttercup. That's a copper, which is a metallic. So when you're using the metallics and things like that, you're going to want, there's a gold mixative. When you're using those, you're going to want to use the blending solution because it does not move right with the, and I'm going to grab a few of these alcohol wipes because it's been a long time since I've been into this box. But you can see, you can take these things and decorate them up with the alcohol ink and your tapes, whatever. I've had this box for, I don't know, 30 years. And then I got these trays, and that box goes with me when I take it places. But when you open these, a lot of times because these are old, they get crusty. And you can see over on my desk that there's some crusty stuff. So I like to take a prep pad and just clean some of the crusty stuff off, because that'll fall on your artwork and make a crusty mess on your artwork. So you can, but before I do that, I'm going to grab, I've got a box of these vinyl safety gloves, because alcohol ink will stain and make a mess. So I'm going to slip on the glove. I see we've got a couple people joining. Thanks for joining. I'm just playing around this morning. And if you missed the first part, go back and look at it. I was talking about the stuff on Amazon, because it's the last day of Prime, and some of you guys don't want to miss out, like I didn't want to miss out. So anyway, what I did is I cleaned. Now you can leave the cap off of the regular alcohol ink for a while. That's not a problem. You want to keep the cap on things like the mixative, because it's going to need to be mixed. You can see that this is separated. I don't even know if this is good anymore, because I've had this stuff for years. But we're gonna give it a try. I'm trying to use up stuff that I've got. There's the Buttercup. That one doesn't look too crusty, so I may have had that open more recently. This one is Ginger. I like Ginger. Hi. Ron's just coming back from his walk, so I'll say good morning to him and let him move on his way, because I am videotaping. And I need to open this up with a pair of pliers, because this one, see how they get frozen shut, and my old hands aren't going to open it. So this is what I'm talking about, crusty. You can see how when it dries down, it gets this crusty stuff. And you don't want that in your artwork. So that's where the prep pads come in, because you can clean that off. And get all of the crusty bits out of the way. I don't know, maybe you like the crusty bits. I'm not a fan of the crusty bits. I want the ink to flow. So you can see that that is really on there. And it's really making a mess on my desk. So what else have we got? We got Pitch Black. This is a newer color, so it looks pretty good. And what other color do I want to use here? I've got stuff on the bright side, so let's go towards, yeah, butterscotch. I love butterscotch. One of my favorites. It's an old-timey color. You can tell that just by looking at the nib on this one. It's been around for a while. So I need to clean that up before I work with it. So do you guys use alcohol ink? Do you like alcohol ink? I was sold on alcohol ink early on because of the vibrant colors. And now that they've got different products that you can use with it, I think it's a lot more exciting, because you can do a lot more with your alcohol ink. So, you know, before, when they first came out with it, you know, they only had a few colors and did not have these products that blend and flow and do all the things. So I'm going to clean the crusty bits off here. And I've got, one of the things that you can use is hand sanitizer to clean things up with. I've got these ATCs. I'm going to start with those. These are the Shannon Green ATC vinyl pieces. I'm going to have I've got my fan blowing. And the other thing that I have done a long time ago is I made these spray inks. Let me see what I've got in those. Some more alcohol. Ooh, looks like that's drying up. I need to use it. That's a gold glimmer ink. So this is and you can go back and look at some of the older videos I've done, but these are inks where I've taken the ink and added it to alcohol and made some sprays. This is like Sharpie ink. You can see down here in the bottom where I've taken the inside of a Sharpie and put it in here and gotten the color. So, you can make, I don't even know if these will spray anymore because I haven't had them in use for a long time. Yeah, there's the Sharpie ink. So if you guys have Sharpies, you can make your own spray. And I'm just going to clean that off before I put the cap back on because it's been in there for a long time. These are inks that I made. These are green, which will be opposite of that pink stuff. So I'm going to see if I can get a little bit of the green down here. That's kind of cool. This is a different green. This is a firm green. That was the leaf green. And then I'm going to dry that because I want it to. Now, this is another tool. This is I think like a bicycle pump. But it pumps air. So you can move your ink around with that and blow. But my easy go-to is my air compressor. And let me get that out. And you can use like a cool air hair dryer. There's lots of different things that you can use. Some people use a straw. I don't like that because you're blowing alcohol around and it's hard enough. So I'm going to turn my air compressor on. And this has the Copic adapter on it. So I can use Copic pens in here and add color this way. But you can see I can just push it and it blows air. So if I want to dry this off, I can just do that. And then I can add a little bit of, I think I want to add alcohol to this first. And let's get some ginger. And buttercup, yeah, I like buttercup. Bright yellow. Okay, so now I've got that on there and I can start moving it. You see how dark it is? I can start moving that out with my tool and blowing and getting those cool effects. Getting some fun backgrounds here. Now, another thing you can get is the isopropyl in a spray bottle like this from Walmart, right? So I can just do that, and then I can dry it. I can get those little splatter things going. Or I can just move it. I think I want to bring another color in, maybe. I want to bring that green back because it's kind of gotten lost. And I want to get the, no, that one's the dark one. I want the lighter green. Because what I'm thinking about putting on these is some botanical stuff. And I like that. I like that for a background. I can come up high. And I can just splatter some alcohol. So you just play with it, right? And if you don't want that much, what you can do is take your alcohol and put it out on your desktop and take something like your brush and do a little splatter with that. Or you can even take your brush and move it around. If you don't like that thick puddle there, move it around. I still want to bring some more of that green in, I think. Come back here. Yeah, I'm liking that. So just, and this is going to stay wet longer because it's on a non-porous surface. I don't like that line there, so I'm going to get rid of it just by tapping. But I do like that. See where that ginger is there? I do like that, so I'm just going to put a drop and blow that. I like that color. I know you guys are going to say brown, brown. So Shell would be saying there's a little bit too much pink down here at the bottom for me, so I'm going to come back with that green again. A little bit up here, just the slightest little bit, and get that to move. Okay, I'm liking that. So that might be, I might just let that dry down. The way it is. I like that for a background. This one too. But I've got all this stuff out here on my mat, and I don't think I want a lot of that to go to waste. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take my alcohol spritz bottle, and I'm going to reactivate some of that. And remember that Yupo. I'm going to take a piece of that Yupo. I'm going to just move this around a little bit, and then I'm going to swipe that through on the Yupo and let it move. And it's going to take a while to dry, so I'm not in love with anything that's there just yet, because like I said, this stuff takes a while to dry on these non-porous surfaces. So while this one is moving around, let's pick up a piece of that Duralar too. Might as well start coloring some of that. See how it wants to puddle on the edge, so I just keep tipping it. And you can dab at it, and you can, pull it back. So there's the Duralar. And it had a tissue on it, so I'm going to do that. My desk is running out of space already. And where's my rag? Clear across there. Grab your rag. I just use shop towels for cleanup. And where it's a little much on the edge, I can come in and grab some of that. And see how the colors separate? You can see some of the pinks and the oranges and that. As it dries down, it changes. Really pretty stuff. So I'm going to come back with some of that Sharpie and just very gently add some of that. And you can see how it blossoms out where the alcohol is still moving. And I can stop it from doing that by adding some air. And we want to add the air gently. And then, of course, you can always take a brush or a tool. Like here's just a little tool. I've got these pieces are still drying, but you can see that it's still got a lot of wet stuff here. I could actually pick up some of this and start dabbing it in here. So let me get that close to the camera so you guys can see what's going on there. You guys see all of that? That's a pretty background. I don't like what happened down here, so I'm going to take a little, actually I'm going to take a little blending solution, I think, because I might want to add here's the blending solution. And do I have a pearl or a, it's wild plum. I should have this is mineral pearl. Let me see if I can get anything out of this. It's been a long time since these have been shaken. I ordered a new tool to shake these up, It's you can get them on Amazon. They're used to mix up the little bottles of paint that they use for model making. So it does look like it's blending. So I'm going to add a little, see what happens with this. I'm going to add a little blending solution down here in this corner. And I'm going to add some of this alcohol pearl into that. And then I'm going to let that move on the page. See what we get. I'm going to add some more of that pink in that too. A little bit of pink and a little bit of, what other color was I using? Let's use butterscotch because I like it. And then I'm just going to start moving some of that. Where's my shaper tool? Here, I've got a palette knife. Just going to start moving some of that with the palette knife and adding some more blending solution to see what we get. You can just play for hours with this stuff because it's never permanent until you, well, it's not permanent then either. I mean, it dries down, but it's not really permanent. It just keeps moving when you add the alcohol or the I don't know if I like those lines. So, hey, Cindy Utter, good morning to you. I don't know if I like those lines, so I'm going to take my isopropyl and break that up because I like that much better. And I can take my tool, I can move that around while it's still wet. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I'm having fun, guys. I hope you're having fun today too. I think I need to incorporate some more of that hot pink back in here though, because it's kind of disappeared. So here's that Sharpie pink. And I want just that little splatter. And then try and start it to dry before it's totally gone. Because it just keeps moving. You know, the more it just keeps moving. Okay, and I don't like that. So you know what I do with that? Blend it out. But you can see in here, in the middle, you can see some of that metallic starting to come through. It's still wet, so it's hard to see when it's still wet. So here it's puddled. Again, I'm going to move that out. I'm going to blend that out a little bit. And how cool. I like that background. I think that's going to make something layered and gorgeous. Just blowing it down, trying to get it to dry some more. Takes a while on this porous surface, non-porous surface, excuse me. I'm going to set that up there. See, these are still very, very wet. So I'm not going to work on these right now until they dry down some more, because those are those ATCs. I'll let that dry and then I'll come back to them. And then I've got, where is that the paper? I think that, yeah, that's the gloss paper, because you see it's dull on one side and gloss on the other. So this is paper, so it's going to absorb right away. So I want to start with a little bit of, I'm going to start with a little bit of blending solution, because I'm going to get that alcohol pearl, which is mineral. I'm going to use some of this stuff up. Get some of that mineral on here. See how it dissipates out. And then I'm going to add some regular isopropyl in here, because now I can incorporate some of these other alcohol inks and blend them into the mix. And I like how there's a light spot here in the middle. It's more of a focal point. Bring that out to the edge, out to the edge. And I really would like to keep that kind of the way it is. You see how this stuff is still moving? I am going to grab a towel real quick and try to stop some of that, because there's more product there than I need. You see that metallic there, so let me dry. So I'm thinking some botanicals. I need to make some cards. I haven't done cards in a while. But you'll be able to see the metallic in the background on this, which is really cool. That's a little bit much right there. So I'm going to blend that out. So I'm going to take a break. I'll come back and do some more of this later, but I need to, go. Ron's back from his walk. What are you drying with? This is an air compressor. This is the Copic adapter. Let me grab a pen and I'll show you what it does. So these are the Copic alcohol ink pens, and they have two different tips on them. And what you do is you can put this into the adapter and it will blow the ink out of the end here. So like if I wanted to add like an air compressor color into these spots. And I don't know how juicy these are, because they've been, I have refills. You can buy the refills for these pens. And you can actually put colorless blender in here too. I should probably pick a darker color, because that's kind of flesh tone, isn't it? Let me see if I have a darker color. This is called lipstick. And let me see if there's actually, here's a piece of Duralar. Yeah, there's the color lipstick. Yeah, it is different. So you put your pen in here And you can use it without, but I put my pen in here and I can just, add the color like spray paint, right? See how that went on? And how it dissipates because it's got the air blast behind it. And then if I want, I can still add alcohol and things to it, or I can take, where is the blending brush? I can take a brush, I can fill this with alcohol. I can just drop alcohol into that and get the effect. Or I can use this just air to dry it down or move the color. I don't have to have a color in there. So to me, it's a multi-purpose thing, and then I can, use a brush or something and blend out and get some really cool effects. You know me, I love my alcohol ink. Need something down here too. Need something down there. Anyway, you can see what kind of rich, colorful effects you can get, and you can see the metallic in there. Just a lot of fun. And then this was on the alcohol ink paper. This is on Yupo, so it's going to move more. This is going to soak into the paper more. So if I wanted to let's take a different color. This is called Garnet. You see if there's any. Yeah, this is a darker red. So I'm just going to shove that in and see if I can get a little bit of that garnet color in here. Okay. See what that does? That's why I like my air compressor, because I can come back on top of these and add things in. That I can't get with other tools. And you can, your husband might even have an air compressor out in the garage, I think you can adapt them, because this is like those sprays, like when you're doing t-shirts and you're doing the paint spray for stenciling and that kind of stuff. Hey, Menu Jane, hello. So anyway, you can see that you can get a lot of different effects just by the tools that you're using. Like I was showing you this one, which is just like an air pump, because I don't have the breath to just blow a straw like some of those people do. So we've got some background started, and I will be making something out of these later. Now, I will tell you guys that I'm going to go into Art Joy Sharing. If you guys aren't members of that group, you may want to come and join us. But in that chat, I'm thinking maybe later today, I'll bring that chat up if you guys want to get in there and talk art and do some of this. So I'm going to switch off my compressor. You'll probably hear the little motor running in the background. But they have little bitty compressors that they use for blowing up tires and bicycles and, you know, that kind of stuff. And I think you can get them fairly reasonably. And then I think you can buy the hose adapter that goes onto the compressor. And you don't have to have the Copic one. I have this because I took a Copic class many years ago. And this has the Copic Air adapter that works with this, but they also have different cup ones there. You can pour your acrylic paint into the cup and spray the acrylic with it. So check out air compressors and see, you know, what's out there, because there are options. You don't have to have exactly what I have. Don't forget about what's going on over at Amazon today. Today's the last day. And if you're like me and really wanted to give these a try and hadn't done it before, these are 35% off. And there's a link in the box down below. So if you want to go find those and get the deal, it's got 24 in there. So I think that's a pretty good deal. It's just slightly over $1 a piece. And like I said, they've got the colors. They've got the colors. So, all right, I'm going to go get some breakfast for my husband since he's back from his walk. Thanks, Cindy. And I will check with you guys later on in Art Joy Sharing. And if I don't see you there, have a great day. Bye, guys.